Welcome to your Friday, May 1st edition of Mark Madness. Today we're going to conclude Mark chapter 8. And more specifically, we're going to conclude Jesus' brief discussion on discipleship. And again, what he's doing here in just a few short verses is giving a big picture of what it means to be a follower of Jesus Christ, what it means to be a Christian. He's going to elaborate on this in different ways, especially through Mark 9 and 10. But in this section, he's just giving a big picture. And yesterday, we saw that since Jesus goes to the cross, Jesus' followers must be willing to go to the cross. And really, what we see in Mark 8:34 are three demands of discipleship. And these demands are to deny ourselves, to take up our cross, and to follow Jesus. It's a metaphorical, figurative, and even literal possible death to self, where our desires, our ethic, our goals, our motivation are put to death on the cross, and that we're raised to new life to follow Jesus Christ, where our lives are centered on his goals, his motives, his ethic, his path, even though it might be very difficult. So Jesus begins by giving these three demands of discipleship, which really constitute one picture that is beautifully demonstrated in baptism, as I said yesterday, where a person goes into the waters and comes out of the waters, representing their death and being raised to new life to follow Jesus Christ. Well, today, Jesus is going to elaborate in two ways. First, he's going to give the rationale for discipleship. And second, he's going to give a warning. So first, the rationale. And the rationale is found in verses 35 to 37. Let me just read verse 35. For whoever wants to save their life will lose it. But whoever loses their life for me and for the gospel will save it. So why would we follow these three demands of discipleship where we die to ourselves and we follow Jesus Christ? Why would we do that? Because Jesus says that's the path to true and lasting life. The path to true and lasting life is not found in following our own ways. You know, we spend so much time and effort trying to improve and lengthen our lives. We do this through education, we do it through careers, we do it through health, we do it through so many different things where we are both trying to preserve and to promote our lives, to make it as long as possible and as successful as possible. And Jesus is saying all of those things are fleeting. They may add a couple years to your life, but none of them provides life everlasting. There's only one way to experience life everlasting, and that is by following Jesus himself. That is by dying to ourselves and being raised to new life where we follow Jesus Christ, where he is center, where he is supreme. So the rationale for following these three demands, even though they're very difficult, Jesus says it's because it's the path to life. It's the only path to life. Jesus concludes this section in verse 38 with a warning. He says, if anyone is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, the Son of Man will be ashamed of them when he comes in his Father's glory with the holy angels. It's a warning that Jesus will return. And when Jesus returns, he returns as judge. And those who have failed to follow him in this life will not be given life everlasting, but they will experience an eternal punishment. So here is Jesus' brief thoughts on discipleship. There are three demands, one picture of denying ourselves and following Christ. There's a rationale. The reason why we do that is because it provides true and lasting life. And there's a warning. If you don't do these things, you will not experience true and lasting life. You'll experience God's judgment. Here's what I recommend over the weekend. I recommend reading this section at least once on Saturday and once on Sunday. Read Mark 8:31 to 38. And it's a wonderful short section of who Jesus is, what type of Messiah he is, and what it means to be a follower of Jesus Christ. So I hope you'll think about that and meditate on that over the weekend. See you Monday.